Hello, ladies and gentlemen from around the world. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Global Talkative Series with your host, Lanre Ajayi. Now, this is a global platform for collaboration, hanging out, and then inspiring one another. And we've been blessed on this show with amazing guests who have taken time out of their busy schedule to come on this show and share their experience with us, giving us instructions, guidance, and, asking questions and finding answers that is needful for us during these present challenging times. We all know that the world is going through a new norm, a new phase of living, and we need the right word, the right encouragement here and there to be a better person. And today, it's not an exception. I have an amazing guest here in the house that will be coming on this show. And like we do it on this show, I'm going to bring her in on all the platforms. We're reaching you from our Global Talk Series studios from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and we're coming to you from Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram Live. So I'm going to bring our guest in on Instagram, and then we'll go into the show proper.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you for those who are watching us on Facebook already. We thank you, and we're expecting our guest as well to join us on Instagram.
How do I do that?
Okay, if you see something like view, join, send you an invitation already to.
Okay, I don't see that.
Okay, I'm sending again.
Watch video.
Yes.
Watch video. Oh, and then
Just click, and the rest is all right. I can see you. Okay.
all right, I can see you.
Okay. This is
This is
amazing.
amazing.
Can you hear me very well?
I can hear you very well. Can you
Thank
hear
you
me?
very much. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is no other person than D. Adekube, a pastor, a speaker, author, advocate, and founder All Women Ministry here in Calgary, Alberta. And our topic of discussion today is based on a talk, a lecture, a preaching she gave at a particular time, which I was privileged to be part of the audience. And I said, the world needs to hear about this. And then that is why, she's coming on the show. I hope there's no feedback from your hand.
No, I can hear you very well. I'm going to turn my sound on. Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very
Okay,
well.
good. Yeah,
Can you hear
good.
me?
Okay. Let's welcome our guest on the show. How are you, Pastor D?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the time.
Okay, so our audiences are, like I said, our guest today is a pastor, a woman of God, and also beyond that, she's a mentor to a lot of women, especially in the community, and she's been a blessing to a lot, including me, to a lot of folks, and she's a speaker, during at different kind of events, and also a founder of All Women Ministry, and we'll be learning so much and what she's been doing, especially for women in the community. And like we do it on this show, I'm going to read the profile of our guest to you, and then you have an idea, a perspective of, okay, how can I come in? What kind of question I can ask our guest? So I'll go right away. D. Adekugbe, aka Mama D, is the founder of All Women Ministry, which inspires and empowers women to rise up and take their place in the seven pillars of society. With God, nothing is impossible to them that believe and have faith in our personal mantra and driving force that affirms the way He lives our life. From a rough and tough background, born in Nigeria, growing up in London, England, and now living in Alberta, Canada, she's a woman who has gone through a lot and still manages to stand and keep standing. She's an international speaker who has spoken on many platforms, including churches, conferences, businesses, television, radio, and many platforms as a keynote speaker and panel expert. He is also the founder and president of the Deborah's Company Mentorship Program and mentors many women to rise up and fulfill their dreams and purposes. She educates, exposes, and elevates all at Deborah's to achieve greatness. She's an advocate for women and families affected by homelessness, suicide, domestic violence, unwanted pregnancy, racism, sexism, and many other issues by using our experiences to educate and provide support to those in need. Our podcast, The Real and Complete Show on Spotify, focuses on our experiences and encourage listeners to be real and complete with themselves and others. Dee is married to Ben and are blessed with five amazing and talented children. Welcome today once again on our show. That is an amazing resume. So, with this challenge that is going on, how have you been managing yourself, family, work, ministry?
I've been coping really well, actually. This with this COVID-19, it has taught us all to reset. It has taught us what are the most important things in life, and that is family, your faith, and your community. And that's really what I've been focusing on, and getting my teeth stuck into over the last few months that we've been all on lockdown. Yeah, so I've been managing it very well.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's start by talking about your journey. How did you
Mhm.
become a pastor and a life coach for women? How will you describe your journey?
My journey is a very interesting one. I was born in Nigeria and then moved to England at the age of 8. And life was very rough and very tough for me. I encountered various forms of abuse, racism, bullying. I was involved in gangs and drugs and domestic violence. And then I ended up in a domestic shelter for 6 months before I met my husband, got married, and now we live in, Calgary, Alberta. I became a pastor in 2004, shortly before we moved to Calgary. But I've been a life coach for over 25 years, working with individuals who were transitioning into different areas of their lives. And when we got here, I received the Macedonian call to women's ministry, which I've never done before. And in January 2005, we launched the Total Woman Ministry, which is now called the All Woman Ministry today. And I am a woman who has gone through many challenges in life and still manages to stand and keep standing and keep thriving. I've been shaken many times, but I've never been broken by the grace
Hmm,
of God.
That
So
is
that's really how I
amazing.
became a pastor.
That is amazing. That is amazing story. Now, beyond apparent crisis that sometimes
Mhm.
happen in life,
Yeah.
what is it about women and the great attention you're paying to female gender?
There is that saying that behind every successful man is a woman, correct? And
Yeah.
that is because women are the bedrock of society. They are the ones that either make you or break you. They hold the ability and the power to turn any situation around. They are more powerful than men, and without a woman, man is limited and the future can be bleak. Now, that is my
Mm,
just own personal opinion. And I believe that when a woman takes her place, things improve. When she rises up and takes her place in the home, things shift. Her positive influence on her family can turn any negative atmosphere and make it positive just by bringing a transformation to her home that spurs a change. Now, I believe that, the change a woman can bring can carry into the community like electricity by her family. And once that change, ignites a community, it changes a nation. But it starts with a woman knowing who she is and taking her place in society and being a positive role model, a positive influencer in her home. If she can turn her home into a powerhouse, that home will go out into the community, that community will go into the nation. And there we have a transformed nation. We have a powerful nation, starting with a woman that knows who she is and educates and affects her family. And so
mm,
that is why I'm so passionate about women and women rising up and becoming who they are in Christ Jesus.
mm. Thank you very much. That is amazing. Like you're saying, it's like in my own little words in my head now.
Yeah,
You're saying that women are like the engine room of the house.
exactly.
The
They
house is just a big uh box of like big different systems working, but
Mhm.
the woman is the engine
She is the
that keeps it
engine.
rolling.
It is, and without that engine, nothing functions in the home. If you want a, a functioning home, invest in a woman. If you want a functioning community, a power, if you want a transformed community, invest in a woman. And if you want to change a nation, invest in a woman. Society are not, they don't understand it, and they are not investing in women. Yeah, because if a woman has a transformed mind, she can turn her home around. She could, and her children, her husband, her family, everyone in that home can go into the community and become great and do great things. And that community now goes into, takes part in a bigger world. Yeah. And the world can transform. Behind every government, every leader is a wife, a mother that
Mm.
is speaking into their ears. Amen. So I want to, that's why I'm very passionate about women rising up, knowing who they are, because we can change our nation just from where we are.
That is amazing. Now, we know there's so many issues going on in our world now. It's like
Yes.
2020 has been very, very different kind of year.
Hmm.
Just yesterday, we had the major issue happening in Lebanon, the bomb blast in Lebanon. Today, there's a major fire outbreak in Dubai. That is apart from the global pandemic that is already ravaging the world. Not,
Hmm.
not to talk. There's also the issue of racism that is also
Yes.
there. So it's
Yeah.
like 2020 has just been a very, very, challenging
Yeah.
year in quotes. Now, coming to the topic of today's discussion, what is your perspective on the recent issue of racism going on around the world? What is your view on this?
Larry, racism and discrimination has been around since the beginning of time. It has always been there. Going back to the beginning of creation, people have experienced racism. People have experienced issues. It's nothing new. It's a repetitive cycle, just like the world. The world, there's nothing new under the sun. It has been, it is now, and it will again be tomorrow. And the thing is that, right, it gains attention every time something evil happens to somebody. Somebody placing their knee on somebody's neck, somebody getting shot in the back, without even facing the person that's shooting them. Every time something evil like that happens, racism comes into the limelight. But it's something that every ethnic person experiences on a daily basis. But it's just, there's not enough time on the news to cover the events that we all face. But I hope that this time that we don't stop talking. Because every time something bad happens, we talk about it for a little while, and then we all go silent, and something else,
Mm,
takes over our lives. But this time, what COVID-19 has taught us is that despite the pandemic, despite what's happening around the world with this whole lockdown, people have come together to highlight another pandemic, which is the issues of Black lives.
mm,
And it is a major pandemic that keeps going off and coming back. But
mm,
this time, people are coming out despite, the fears of COVID-19, despite getting sick, despite the fear of, catching this virus. They're coming out, and they are putting a light. They're putting voices. They're putting faces to this issue, and they're saying that enough is enough. This is a pandemic that needs to be addressed, just like any other pandemic. And my prayer and my goal is that we don't talk for a little while and then we stop talking. That
yeah.
we don't just capture it on the news for a season and then it goes back to normal again. I
Mm,
hope that we keep talking. I hope that we keep taking action. I hope that we don't keep silent, because this time something has to be done, because enough is enough of this cycle. The
mm,
same way that we're looking for a solution for COVID-19, let's invest in a solution for racism. Let's invest in
yeah.
a solution for the deaths of many Black people that is going on. I have two sons. Sometimes I get worried about what they're doing, where they are. And enough is enough, and that we need to now say, let's find a solution. If we can invest in COVID-19, we can certainly invest in the abuse that many people are facing today.
Thank you very much. While you were talking, you made mention of Black lives. And someone asked me this question sometimes, that we're pushing this agenda of, like, people are saying it, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. But someone else asked, the guy now asked me, now, what about other lives? Do they
Mm-hmm.
not matter? What how do we what is the importance? Because Black Lives Matter, I believe so
Mm-hmm.
much in it as well. But the
Yes.
question the guy was asking me, that what about the other lives that are not black? What about their lives
Every
too?
life, every life matters, yes, but it's not every life that is under, under a pandemic attack.
Mm,
Do you understand me? Every
yeah.
life matters. White lives matters. Asian lives matter. Every single community, their lives matter. Every child, lives matters. But let's face it. Yeah, how many people, how many communities, how many cultures are there, are the police placing their knees on their neck?
Mm,
How many communities are getting shot? Cultures, are there men getting shot? Yeah, as they're run, in the back. Every life do matter. My white children's lives matter. My Latino children's lives matters. My Asian children's lives matter. But they are not under threat. They are not. They are not facing what the world is facing, which is a global pandemic of the
yeah.
black lives, the young men.
Hmm. That's true. That is amazing. That is amazing. Still on Global Talk Active series with our amazing guest, Pastor D. Adekugbe, speaker, author, advocate, and founder of Women Ministry. And our topic of discussion today is take a knee, take a stand, embrace the new normal. And I would appreciate those who are joining us from around the world. Emole Ayoashogbon, Pastor Ben Adekugbe, D. Adekugbe, Dr. Kanong, thank you for joining. And all those who are watching us on Facebook and Instagram, thank you so much. And Akoy Richard from Dubai, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. If you got any question for our guest today, you can send your question on Facebook or YouTube, on Instagram. I will do our best to answer the question. Now, coming to today's topic, discussion of today, which is take a knee, take a bow, take a knee, take a stand, embrace a new normal. What does it mean to take a knee and to take a stand? And before you answer that question, I want to tell our audience that this was part of the message you preach, or a word or a lecture that you delivered some times ago. So, what does it mean to take a knee, to take a stand while we're
Yeah.
embracing the new normal?
I actually preached this message in our church a few weeks ago, and trying to get people to understand that everybody has to take a knee and everybody has to take a bow for something. You are gonna take a knee for something in life that you believe in, yeah, and you gotta take a stand. What does it mean to take a knee? Let me just simplify this for you. To take a knee is really as a silent and a prayerful protest against the unfair treatments of black people around the world. Yeah, and it was globalized. It became a globalized symbol of fighting racism, and actually gained attraction, during an American football game by a particular one of the athletes. When they went
Kaepernick,
down. Yes,
Kaepernick,
yeah, Colin Kaepernick. They went
Kaepernick.
down on he and a few others went down on their knees during the national anthem at the beginning of the game. Now, the act of actually taking a knee, and has now become, a phenomenon that everybody is now doing. We see the presidents, prime ministers, the police, everybody taking a knee in support of Black Lives Matter, the movement, battling racism, especially within the police brutality against Black people, especially the recent one with George Floyd, which was one of the latest ones. But
Yeah,
let's go back in history. Taking a knee has always been an act of great respect and humility. People have always knelt down before kings, queens, the popes, and anybody as a sign of honor and respect. And there was a particular show that people have watched. I haven't seen it, the Game of Thrones, where they
yeah,
were, where they would go, they would bend the knee as a symbol of and gesture of loyalty and allegiance.
yeah.
But something, in 1965, there was a photo of Dr. Martin Luther King and some of the
Civil
people that
rights
were
movement
with him.
fighters.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
civil rights move,
yeah,
people that were with him. They all took a knee in prayer whilst leading a group of people, during, in Selma, Alabama, I believe that, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah. But if you go back, a bit more, taking a knee actually goes back to the Christian faith. It's when you go to God in prayer. Yeah, you're praying. It's part of the Christian, it's part of what we as Christians do, kneeling down and praying to God, submitting ourselves, to God, and as a sign of humility. And taking a knee means that I am kneeling down in support, in praying, and in support of what is, of my brothers, of my sons, of my fathers. I'm kneeling down. I'm praying to God for a solution. And I'm also showing you that I am, that I'm protesting, yeah, to say that what is happening in our society is wrong. Yeah, and something needs to be done about it. And the first thing that needs to be done about it is for everyone to get on their knees and pray. Yeah. And whilst they're praying, they're also showing people that this is where it stands from. This is where action stands from. This is where the first thing we need to do is take a knee in prayer and ask God for help, and then show the world that we are not violent, we are not aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a silent, a silent prayerful protest for something to be done, for a
Mm.
change to happen, both spiritually and physically. When you take a knee, it's a spiritual act and it's also a physical act. Yeah.
Mm.
And then when you take and then you can, and then once you've gone on your knees and you've done that, you now have to take a stand. You can't just take a knee and not take a stand. You can't do
Absolutely.
one without the other. When you get on your knees and pray, God has to give you an answer. Then you rise up and take a stand. You can't say, I'm taking a knee just to show the paparazzi, the media, to show people, oh, look at him, look, they're on their knee. But you're not doing anything about it. You're not taking a stand. You're not taking an action. Yeah?
Mm.
Everybody has to take a stand, take a firm decision, and say,
Mm.
something, I'm standing up for something to be done. I'm adopting a firm position on this issue. You know, Alexandra Hamilton said that those who stand for nothing will fall for
Oh,
anything.
anything. Yeah.
If you don't
Absolutely.
stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. It starts with you taking a knee and then you take a stand.
That
And
is amazing.
every revolution, every change, every difference, every history maker, they all started with, taking a knee and then taking a stand. It goes
Mm.
together. Don't just take a knee and post a picture on social media. Follow it up with an action.
Mm. 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 Now, when he talks about following it up with an action, now in the recent few weeks since the pandemic and the recent pandemic issue started, we've had a series of protests, around the city, across the nation. Even the prime minister has done something. So,
Mhm.
uh, how much of that do we need? Because we've seen several protests, especially in the states, over and over, and then it seems the more they do this, the more blacks are being killed. So how more of this? How long do we have to continue doing this? Because a lot of folks are tired. We've been going for protest, and that, I'm tired. I can't go for protest again, which is part of what we're saying, that taking a stand, doing an action. So what will you say? How what else can we do to gain the attention of
We,
the authority?
we got to keep kneeling down. We got to keep taking a knee. We got to keep taking a knee in prayer and taking a knee in protest, silent, a prayerful, peaceful protest. I am not in support of violent protest or rioting or looting or any of that. That's not what taking a knee is all about.
Hmm.
But nothing changes overnight. Yeah. Let's bring it down to something that most people can probably identify with. If you're having a problem with your child, you don't just say, I'm just going to, I'm going to, deal with it once. It's a continuous thing. If you're having a
That's right.
problem in your marriage, you don't just go to one counseling session and say, okay, now that I've done that, the marriage should be fine. We got to keep on and keeping on. Yeah, you got to
Mm.
keep on praying. You got to keep on, taking a stand. For every time somebody does something, you take a stand, or you say something, and you should never get tired. Yeah, I know people are getting tired, but we should never get tired of talking about this, because every time we keep silent, there are still racism going on behind closed door.
Wow.
One of my daughters that just recently, I mean, somebody would come up to her and and said something to her, and I'm like, seriously, seriously. And as a mother, I was gonna go all crazy on them, but but I let her handle it. Yeah, racism doesn't go away because we stop talking about it or they stop covering it on the news. Yeah,
Mm.
it's we education needs to take place. We need to add it into our history lessons, into our current affairs studies, into our social studies, social sciences, whatever subjects are being covered in school. We need to cover racism, discrimination, all of the things that are happening in society, and we should always make sure that we keep talking about it. We
Thank you
keep
so much.
bringing it to the front. We keep, and when it's quiet, raise the head again, raise the voice of it again. Yeah,
Mm.
and keep knocking on government's doors, keep knocking on legislators' doors, keep knocking on our prime ministers, on our president's doors, until they get tired of hearing our voices and they do something about it.
That is amazing. Now, still talking about the issue of taking a knee or taking a bow, taking a stand
Like a
for
stand.
the injustice and all the challenges. Now, how does this apply to many people out there who have been victims of racist attacks and abuse? They've
Hmm.
been, some as a result of the attacks they've faced, all the challenge, all the racial slurs. Not so many people have that mind to stand despite this kind of issue. Some commit suicide,
I
some,
know.
you know. So how does it apply to those who've been, who are constantly facing these attacks day by day, maybe at work or at home or at school and the community?
The first thing is that we've got to stand up and talk. Yeah, we've got to take the lid off this thing. The same way that we're asking people who have been abused to speak up. We know people who have been bullied to speak up. We need to start speaking up, because if we don't speak up, people don't know what we're facing. People don't know what we're going through. And for me personally, I believe that we need to speak up. We need to find allies. And then we also need people that will take their places in the seven pillars of our society, that can be a voice for the victims. Yeah, we need to find allies in government. We need to find people, and if there aren't any allies in government, then we need to start educating our own people to rise up into position of authority. You see, God has called everybody, into one or more of the seven pillars of society. And people need to realize that getting involved in politics means that you can make a difference. Yeah, people need to know that if you call yourself a social media influencer, start being an influencer for something good.
Mhm.
Yeah, people need to, if you are in the media, if you are in the arts and entertainment, if you are in education, if you are in business, let's start using all of the platforms that we are to begin to do something, give voice to the voiceless. Yeah, and begin to
Okay.
stand up for the victims, because when if you don't know that other people have gone through what you're going through, you won't want to come out. Yeah, but if you
Mhm.
know that there is a support group, if you know that there is a community, yeah, that understands what you've gone through, that can speak on your behalf, victims services, then you are more willing to come forward and say, this is what I experienced at work, this is what I experienced at school, this is what I experienced in my business. And the more we talk about this and begin to gather statistics, gather information, we can begin to now make a difference.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thank you so much. Now let's shift the focus a bit into uh community or society transformation.
Mm,
Now let's talk about building a transformation and a change in our society we live in. How will
mm.
you approach this? How will you approach transforming and changing our society?
For me personally, as a minister and as a pastor, the first thing is by prayer. You take a knee in prayer. You take a knee in prayer, and then you got to rise up and take action. Yeah, if you're a Muslim, if whatever religion you are, whatever your faith is, you take a knee and you lift up people in prayer. You pray about your community. You pray about what is happening. And then you rise up and take an action. Yeah, all it needs is one person. One person can actually transform a world. One person can ignite fire in other people. I personally believe that if for something to change, we just need one person to be a voice. There was only
Yeah.
one Nelson Mandela. There was only one Gandhi. There was only one Dr. Martin Luther King. There was only one Rosa Parks. There was only one Colin Kaepernick. All it takes is one person rising up in the community and saying, what if that was my son? What if that was my brother? What if that was my husband or my father? What would I do? And then rising up with empathy and sympathy, and being their voice,
Mm.
using your networks. We build so many networks, we build so many platforms for ourselves. But what are we actually making a difference? Are we using them to make a difference? Are we using them to impact people? Yeah, or are we just using them to promote ourselves and what we are doing?
Mm.
For transformation to take place in our society, we need to rise up, and then we need to gather people together and say, let's do it. One thing the Bible says is one person shall chase 1,000 and two can put 10,000. But imagine what three or four or five or six people can do. There is a famous story in the Bible in Genesis 11. It says that they all came together to build a tower called the Tower of Babel. And once they
Yeah.
came together, they began to build that tower. They began to, and then, God had to say, oh my God, with one mind, there's nothing these people cannot achieve. So I believe that if we can gather like-minded people together, yeah,
Mm.
but it takes one person, Larry, to say, I want to do something about it, and then begin to find other people, begin to find other people who share your passion, and then say, let's build the tower. Let's build the
Mm.
Tower of Babel. Yeah,
Mm.
let's tear down the walls of Jericho. Let's make a difference, and then you lean on each other's strengths, yeah, and you cover up each other's weaknesses, and
Mm.
together we can make a difference in our community.
That's amazing. That's right. That's right. That's right. Still on the Global Talkative series with our guest, Pastor D. Adekugbe, speaker, author, advocate, founder of All Women Ministry. And our topic of discussion today is take a knee, take a stand,
Mm,
embrace the new normal. While I was reading your bio, you are the founder of Deborah's company and All Women
mhm,
Ministry. And you do some mentorship program,
mhm.
for women. How give us some education on how you do this mentorship and how can this be available to women in our community?
So, one thing I'm very passionate about is, raising up the Deborahs in our generation, one Deborah at a time. Deborah was a woman in the Bible that she was a prophetess, she was a leader, she was a wife. But when things were going wrong in her community, when things were going wrong, during her time, she rose up as a mother because she was so broken by what was happening. She rose up and she took a stand. Yeah, she took a knee, and then she took a stand, and led her nation into transformation, into freedom. And that's one thing that I'm so passionate about, is raising up the Deborahs of our generation, one Deborah at a time, who are willing to rise up in the seven pillars of society. You see, there are seven mountains or pillars in our society, and those are the homes. It's education, it's business, it's media, it's art and entertainment, it's government, and it's religion. And I believe every woman is called into one or more of these seven pillars. And if the women can realize that, you know what, you are called, you are gifted, you have the ability, the talent to rise up as a stay-at-home mom and raise the children that will influence the next generation, then pour all your resources, all your energy, all your talent into that. If you have been gifted in business, you can transform your nation and your community with your business. If you have been called into media, rise up. Wherever you've been called in the seven pillars, rise up. And what I do is I come alongside of you, educating you, supporting you, and just and just creating a network, a platform for you, and a community for you, whereby you can feel connected, you can feel inspired, and you can feel encouraged to rise up and take your place in the seven pillars. Every woman has to rise up in one or more of the seven pillars of society. If you are a stay-at-home mom, that is a pillar. That is a strength. There's no that is an anointing, is a gifting, it's a talent to raise children, raise a family. If you are gifted with business, rise up in business, rise up in the education, rise up in media, rise up in the arts and entertainment. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you can't be in arts and entertainment. That's a lie. Or you can't get involved in government and politics. That's a lie. Every woman can rise up and she can transform her nation. She can transform her family, her community, her nation, and the world by taking her place. So my
That is
job is to
amazing.
come alongside of you one on one, and together we can do it.
Thank you so much. Now, tell us about the real and complete show on Spotify. What inspired you to do that?
Well, you know what? I had a conversation with somebody last year, and she was like, Pastor D, you need to be more real with people. When I was 40, I wrote my autobiography. To celebrate 40 years, 40 years, and the great things God has done in my life. How God took me from a nobody and made me into somebody. God took me out of domestic violence. He cleaned me up in the shelter, and then he gave me a new life, a husband, a family, a community. And so last year, I began to share my stories of all the things that I've gone through. And I started doing a podcast called The Real and Complete Show. It's about me being real and me being transparent with you, you just being completely bare with you and saying, listen, I've done drugs. I've been involved. I've been abused. I was 6 months in a shelter. I've had an abortion. I've done all of these things. I've been bullied. I've gone through all of these things. And so me talking about it is, it's number one, bringing healing to me, and also, educating my listeners to know that they are not alone in whatever it is that they are going through. You may be in a homeless shelter. When you hear my story, you can feel like, if that pastor can rise up and come out of that, I can definitely do it. If you've had an abortion and you're ridden with guilt, or people are making people are making you feel bad, you can say, look at that pastor. She went through that. God healed her. She forgave herself and she moved on with life. So my podcast is about me being real and totally transparent, because that brings healing to me, and it also brings healing to my listeners, and really inspires them to rise up from self-pity, rise up from self-condemnation, self-judgment, and then rise up and take their places in the seven pillars of the society.
Thank you so much. Now, you have a focus to women in the
Yes.
community, in the society. And we have, according to statistics, a lot of women are going through emotional abuse, marital challenges here and there. What would be your advice for women in this category? How can they get out of this situation? Because some are like going, it's like they're under a spell from their husband or from the community, especially within the African context. A
Yeah.
woman is going through problems, and then she's afraid that, oh, what would the people say if I said my husband is beating me or this? So they're trying to cover up, but they are going through hell at home. How will you advise, or what will you say to help
The
these
first thing,
women?
what? If you don't talk, nobody's going to know what you're going through. Yeah, you got to find a way to talk about what's happening in your home. And if you want help, you've got to talk. I keep telling people, I know, there's a lady that's going through domestic violence, and I'm telling her, if you don't talk, nothing's going to change. Yeah. And I'm not talking about talking to your spouse or talking to the family. I'm saying talk. Take the lid off what's going on in your home, and stop being ashamed. Stop being ashamed that you allowed this to happen. You allowed this to happen in your community. Because if you stay in that place of shame, that place of guilt, nothing changes. Yeah. So I am an advocate for women speaking up. Yeah. Speak up. I tell people, If a man is laying a hand on you, God help you. I am a pastor that will call the police for you. Yeah.
mm,
And I will come and pack your bags for you and get you out because
mm,
you cannot change anything while you're still being beaten. And if you
mm,
have children that are in that home watching that, what you are saying to your children is it's this is normal and it's okay. And you're setting them up to become abusers. Yeah,
mm,
because they see that it's okay. I keep telling women that with everything that I have gone through in life, there is a bright future. Things can turn around, but first of all, you got to take a knee for yourself, go to God in prayer, and then you got to take a stand and say, I am getting out of this. I'm getting out of this community. I'm getting out of this situation. There is a better life for me outside of my today. Tomorrow can be better if I take the right actions today.
mm.
Yeah. So I want to
That is,
encourage every woman, every person that is listening to me. If somebody is going through pain, going through whatever it is, and you know it's not right, don't just say it's
mm,
not your problem. It's all of our problems. What my
mm,
sister is going through becomes my problem because she's
mm,
my sister. Yeah.
mm.
So speak up
Yeah.
on her behalf. Speak up on the children's behalf. When you see children being abused, don't say, if I get involved, they're going to blame me. No, get involved.
Mm,
We all need to be our brothers and our sisters' keepers.
mm. That is amazing. Now, what are there some available resources out there for women or children or families in this kind of situation? Probably, someone's they'll be watching this after the live chat or they're watching now. What are available resources that are out there for them, especially within a community that they can access? I know that you have All Women Ministry, which is one of the major, avenue for them to reach out. What other available resources are there, or how can they access such kind of help?
We are blessed in a nation that cares about families and and women and everybody, both men as well. I just want to just say something, just balance something out. Right now we're talking about women. Now, I'm not saying that men don't get abused or men are not
Yeah.
facing challenges. Right now the conversation is about women, so that's really what I'm focusing on right now. There are men that go through exactly the same thing as what we've described and we're talking about today. But we are blessed that we are in a community whereby resources and support is available for you, regardless of your culture, your religion, your age. Nobody cares how old you are. Nobody cares what your faith is. All they care about is your life. Yeah. And so resources are available for anybody and everybody. You can go online and just search out resources and what is available for in my community, in my city, and a lot of things will come up. You can also contact us at All Women Ministry, and we will put you through to relevant organizations and groups and individuals that can help you. There is help for every woman out there. There's help for every family. And I just want to encourage you that nobody should feel alone. If you're
Mm,
experiencing racism, if you're experiencing any kind of discrimination, if you're experiencing anything that is not right, you are not alone.
mm,
You may feel alone, but if you are just willing to pick up the phone and make a phone call, or there are so many helplines, anonymous helplines. If you're just willing to just make a phone call, you will get the help that you need.
mm,
And I want to tell you that there are ample resources. I volunteer with quite a few of them. There are ample resources available for every need and
mm,
for every group and for families as well, not just
mm.
for women.
Now, if our guests and those who are watching us, they want to reach you, can they get through to you through the website that has been displayed here?
Yes, you can get through to me at allwoman.ca or dadequbi.com. Yes.
Okay, for all our audiences on Instagram, I'm just going to spell the website because it's right. It's been displayed on Facebook and YouTube live chat. Remember, we're chatting like on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So from the studio, we can display that. So if you want to reach out to our speaker of today, you can reach out through www.dadekwe.com. I'm going to spell the D. D is D, then double EADEKUGBE.com.
Yeah.
D@dekugbe.com. Or you can just go onto my YouTube channel to watch this video, and all the information and the questions is going to be displayed there. Now, still on our discussion, we have leaders in our community. You have the government, the community leaders, the bosses, the managers, organizations here and there. What are the key lessons you would like to share with our viewers from your years of experience as a leader, a counselor, pastor, and a coach?
I think the first thing is you are in a position of leadership because you can make a difference
Mm,
and you can change lives. People's lives are in your hands, whether you realize it or not. And whether you are a pastor, whether you're a business leader, whether you are a prime minister, whether you're in government, wherever you are in a position of leadership, it means that you can make a difference, and you need to start leading. A leader leads. Yeah,
mm,
lead the change, lead the government into change. And you know what? And I believe that every leader, has to surround themselves with people that can empathize with people and sympathize with them as well. You cannot turn a blind eye, or turn a deaf ear to what is happening on the streets and call yourself a leader.
mm.
You understand? You
Yeah.
cannot, you cannot focus on one particular group and neglect another group.
Mm,
Yeah. It's like me, I have 5 children. It's like me saying that I'm going to neglect one child in favor of another child. That is not right. Yeah. We are supposed to love all of our children the same and lead them all. So I
mm,
want to encourage every leader. Let's start to take a knee in prayer, take a knee to show that we care, and
mm,
then take a stand for right, for justice. Take a stand against discrimination. Take a stand for even for your own children. Yeah, to say that this is wrong. I have the ability, I have the power to do something about it.
mm,
Yeah, you should be leaving a legacy of goodness, of mercy, of justice, not a legacy of abuse and ignorance.
Thank you so
So
much.
that's
Uh,
really what I believe.
Thank you so much. We'll have about just less than 10 minutes more for this broadcast. And I want to appreciate all those who have joined us from around the world. Housewife of underscore ATL joined. Tammy Adedi, thank you for joining. And all those who have joined us on Facebook and YouTube, thank you so much for joining. We still have few minutes left. If you have any question for Pastor D, you can just send the question in and we'll answer the question right
Yeah.
away. Now, you provide mentorship and counseling. How can our guests get that form of is that what is the process in getting to be a mentor by you, or to get this counseling? What is the process they have to go through?
They have to, just go on my website. They can go on my, Diadekubi, or they can go on allwoman.ca, allwoman.ca, and they can get in touch with me that way. Usually, I meet with people one on one, and then we go through what their goals. We go through their passion, their vision, and then we begin to work towards it and begin to connect them with like-minded people, that will elevate them, and then we expose them to platforms that they can grow. I'm really passionate about working with women, but I also work with a lot of men. I work
Yeah.
I work with a lot of men as well. So I mean, you can go on my website and just connect with me through there, or you can go on if you Google my name, you find me on all of the social media platforms, and you can send me a message through them. It may take me longer to get your messages on social media, because I'm still behind on how to return messages on social media. But if you go on my website, that'll probably be faster, or just
That is
even just call me.
now, you're saying they want to reach you, but is there any kind of financial commitment? Because people who are looking for people to talk to. That's why we have shrinks, we have coach, we have mentors, counselors, all of that, and they charge per the hour.
Yes.
How? One of our viewers might want to know.
There are,
Is there
there
kind of monetary, involvement?
it starts from zero to whatever, depending on what people and are in need of. Most of the time, most of the work that I do with people is comes with a zero cost, but then it depends on what they're actually looking for, the support they're needing, and what they want to work on, and then we talk about the monetary aspect of things. But I'm passionate about people generally, so my passion is free of charge. But again, it depends on the longevity, what they're looking for, and then we can, it just starts with a conversation
That is
and a
amazing.
steep tea double double. Steep tea double
Okay.
double will open the door.
Okay, that is amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. Viewers, have come to the end of today's broadcast. And if you like to reach our guest, the website is still on display, dadekugbe.com or
Dot .ca.
allwomenministries.ca.
No,
You can
just
reach her,
just allwoman.ca.
allwomen.ca. You can reach out on those platforms and you can ask, for counseling, for questions. While you were talking, you said, people should speak out. People should learn to speak out, to voice out, to not to keep quiet, not to keep silent, not to suffer in silence, because we have a lot of issues regarding domestic violence, especially during this lockdown period. People are going through a lot, and until you speak out, nobody knows what they're going through. And this is
Exactly.
an avenue for you to get some form of encouragement. You need someone to talk to, you need someone to encourage you. Our guest is making ourselves available, and amazingly, at zero cost for a beginner. Depending on the kind of challenges, maybe it's going to take a longer day, I don't know. But this is an amazing opportunity for you to get to speak to someone. I remember I was talking to some folks, and I was going to engage them as a consultant on a project, and they told me, before we start talking, you gotta pay us $25,000. I said, what? Non-refundable. Said, okay, what if uh just to get you in, it has to do with some of my community initiative that I'm doing, that for us to get to first, to talk to you first, you have to pay us. And I said, okay, if I pay you, are you going to return my money? And said, no. So what if you can help me? I said all that just to let you know that you have an amazing opportunity here, without having the issue of money, that, oh, I don't have money, I can't go see my counselor, I can't go see my shrink. You have an amazing mentor, advocate, and a speaker. In just about like a word or two, what final words do you have for our viewers out there, especially in terms of racism, and then the topic of discussion today, taking a stand,
Take a knee and take a
take a
stand.
knee, take a stand.
I just want to just leave you with this. We can all take a knee and we can all take a stand, because if we don't, we will continue to be in trouble. Our race will continue to, be disgraced and, in ruins. And it just takes one person. One person is all that is needed and can respond to what they see, to what they hear, and to how they're feeling. Let's not forget one Nelson Mandela, one Rosa Parks, one Gandhi, one Mother Teresa. One person can start a revolution that can change the world.
Mm,
One mother can start a prayer chain. One sister, one auntie, one person just needs to rise up and say, "This is not right." Yeah, and as you rise up and you begin to gather people together, and you keep crying out. There's a story in the Bible about the woman that she wanted justice, and she kept disturbing the king over and over and over and over until the king got fed up and say, "Okay, just give her what she wants." As
mm,
mothers, as women, we know how to nag. We have the anointing of nagging. Let's
mm.
nag our governments. Let's nag our communities leaders. Let's nag everybody that is around us until something changes, something happens. We
Mm.
can do it together. We can start a revolution.
Thank you so much for your encouraging words and your amazing words. Nothing happens until we take a stand, and we take a knee and we take a stand. It's
Yes.
a call to action for all our viewers out there. Thank you for staying tuned on today's live chat. I appreciate you. You're the reason why I'm doing what I do, and I thank you, Pastor Dave, for taking time to be on the show today. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of today's broadcast. It's been an amazing 1 hour discussion. If you still want to get to know more about Pastor D, you can go to the website that has been displayed, www.dadekugbe.com or allwomen.ca. Thank
Yes.
you so much. We love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening and morning, evening, anywhere in the world.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye for now.